This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another NFC East show. Only two of us today. Not sure where Sneaky's at. Not sure where Pork Rind's at. Doesn't matter. They
Doesn't
aren't
matter.
really. They aren't really in the mix. Obviously, we did play the Giants this week. Giants did give us a tough game. I know we didn't get to talk about this last week, but had you guys did hear from me, I would have said specifically that uh, I always feel that the Eagles season begins once we play the Giants. Now we can play Dallas as many times and whatever, but our season begins when we play the Giants. And it doesn't matter what the records are, the Giants are always going to play us tough in the first game. Second game, different scenario. Second game, I think we'll smoke the Giants. But the first game is always tough. When I saw 13.5 point spread, when I talked about it on Sunday on my other podcast, I told them, I says, yeah, there's a reason why I'm not taking the Eagles with the 13.5 point spread because I don't think they're going to cover. I just know that the Giants are always going to play the Eagles tough in the first one. And they
That
did.
was a large spread. What all season 13.5. I know we had one game where we were at that point, but 13.5, that's a pretty large spread right there.
Well, it is, and I thought it was crazy. I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that? 13.5 points. It's like do you think that this isn't a divisional game? I mean, this isn't like the 49ers playing the Cardinals. This is the Eagles and Giants, and there's a reason why, like out of all of the rivalries in the NFL, Eagles Cowboys is number 1. Chicago Green Bay is number 2. Eagles Giants is number 3. There's a reason for that. Even though the Giants aren't that good, they are always going to play tough against the Eagles. There is a long-standing dislike. Listen, Michael Strahan and I bantered back and forth with each other. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
I met a friend of Michael Strahan and I sent him a little video, he chirped back at me. You know what I mean? Because that's how contentious. When Bill Parcells went to the Cowboys, he said specifically, at least he didn't get that was actually it wasn't Strahan. It was what's his face? Oh my God, 56.
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor said at least he didn't go to the Eagles. That's what he said. At least he didn't go to the Eagles. So there is a real hatred that goes up and down this turnpike
Oh,
that
yeah.
I still remember and I still hold true.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was a pretty good game for you guys. I saw how it started off, and then the Eagles exploded out from the beginning, and then it just softened, and then the Giants started coming back. Of course, they had their QB switch up, and I don't know what the weather was there on the field, but it didn't look that great. It looked a little bit, wet per se, like there was some precipitation up in the air, but other than that, it was a great game. I actually sat through the whole game, and I was, for Tyrod Taylor to come in and do what he did. I don't know if it was just the angst, it was just getting back into it, but him running around, which we all know he can do, him throwing the ball. I mean, he was hitting those passes deep, and it was a good game. It was a good game all the way around. You guys prevailed, of course. You guys are in first place, and I couldn't even, playing them 2 games or two times within 3 weeks is just absurd, if you ask me. But it is what the schedule is.
Right. We gotta play the people in front of us, but I'm a firm believer that you have to play the Giants earlier than this. You can't.
Yeah.
We can't. They can't do this. Yep. This was like this a couple of years ago when we played Dallas like 2 times in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was.
It was COVID year, so it was a weirdo spot, I think. But
Yeah.
I don't like these divisional games that they put kind of back to back with each other, especially when you didn't know how the Giants were going to be. It would have been possible that we could have played the Giants if things worked out differently 3 times in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like the NFL guys should know better, than to do stuff like that. But
Yeah, and that again takes to the heart of the scheduling and letting Amazon Cloud, do configurations a million times or whatever it is. But it has to pass the smell test if you're visibly looking at it. It just really does.
right. And I guess there's a lot of teams that they got to look at, like, oh, well, this is just a one team. But I tell you, those are 2 major markets.
Yes.
There's a reason why they kept Dallas in the East and didn't move them anywhere else because they know the major markets.
Yeah.
So you better start catering to those major markets better, I think. I just think.
Well, yeah, and again, it just needs to pass a smell test. You see 2 teams going at each other, in 3 weeks, twice in 3 weeks. It just doesn't look good.
Agreed. So, but that being said, we did take the win. We got back in first place because
The Cowboys, they stunk it up this weekend. I mean,
so
they did
talk
the
to me
previous
about
week.
that.
They, the Cowboys. Looking at the game from the onset, they started off great, going down the field. Rookie fumbles the ball on the goal line. I mean, that set the tone for the game. CeeDee Lamb opened up. I mean, he opened up there after that and got the receiving yards. Got 93 yards in the first half, and then he was shut down. It just didn't make any sense. And then, going further into the game, the rushing game isn't there. And I knew this. I think part of the frustration for the Dallas Cowboy fans is the running game. We have not had a running game all year. Everything that was hyped up that Tony Pollard was going to be doing this, Tony Pollard was going to be doing that, it just hasn't matched up to what everyone said it was. We don't have that big running back to get us that 1 yard. And, for all intents and purposes, we needed that guy when he got stopped on the goal line. It was just like, what? What happened here? You're almost in, you get stopped. Defense, I've got to cut some slack to the defense. Everybody's been up in arms, and including myself. But the thing is that You gave up 22 points to the Miami Dolphins, who have been scoring an average of 40 points a game. And your offense only scored, 2 touchdowns. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? We got to get in the end zone more. You can't be coming from behind against a team like the Miami Dolphins. And that's what you saw. You saw no offense on the field for, between quarters 2 and 3. Fourth quarter, they came back, and it was just like, it's a little too late. And the penalties. I'm going to tell you right now, I think a lot of fans are getting very, very tired across the league. And not, I'm not just saying the Cowboys. I'm saying fans across the league, as well as owners and whoever it may be, are getting very weary of the officiating during these games. We've got a player such as Micah Parsons who hasn't had a flag thrown in 34 quarters or something absurd. And he's being held every game. I mean, the pictures, you see it happening in real time, and no officials are throwing the flags. Then the calls that he's getting, a personal foul that really hurt us for roughing the passer when it was perfect timing. It just doesn't make sense. It's getting old, and I think fans across the league are starting to notice this more and more as the time goes by. And I'm going to tell you, even so much so, is that when you have the analysts calling and saying, what is the call there? We're not seeing it. And Dean Blandino coming out, I just don't see it. You're hearing that more and more that, well, it's snapped in real time. The camera, the camera could no. When these guys are looking at it full time, I don't see it. So that says something. When these analysts are starting to call out the refs, it just goes to show you that it's not just us fans. The analysts are starting to see it and call it out as well. And it's just, it's hurting the game so much so. And we knew this was going to happen, though, when they got in bed with gambling. There's no other way to put it. It's affecting the outcomes of games. It's affecting the scores. It's affecting across the board. And I can see, why there's more gambling in this game, but it's getting risque, man.
Joe, stop. It's not just you.
It's
not just the Cowboys.
It feels like Joe. It feels like that because one, you're a fan. You're seeing the games in real time. But if you look across the league, it's it's become a major problem, and it's just like from roughing the passer to holding to personal fouls. I mean, you can't say enough. Just go back and look at the games this weekend. Look how many penalties were across the board, I should say. And again, it's not just us saying it. It's the analysts starting to call these guys out. That, you have the players who are now analysts saying, well, what's going on? And was Tom Brady right? Are we getting soft? Of course we are, but, we're trying to protect players at the same time. But it's become tiresome already at this point. Week 17, week 16 goes by, and you're having petty calls on both sides of the ball, and calls that shouldn't be calls. Roughing the passer should not be called on Micah Parsons when he got that hit. And I'm going to even go back so much so when Dak Prescott got hit in the end zone, and that was roughing the passer, and we got 15 yards. I mean, it's going both sides of the ball. It's not just the Dallas Cowboys. It's not just the Eagles. It's
because even during that last drive, they gave him a roughing the passer call, and there was no roughing the passer. It was just like, are you kidding me? Like what is happening? Is this because the NFL wants you to? Okay, we want these games to be very close. That's what we're trying to do here. Oh. Billy, you got one of your answers right here. Sneaky G-Man shows up a little late, but he's still here. That's awesome.
What's going on, guys?
It's going. Let me go into this, Billy. I don't know how many people watched the the game between Baltimore and San Francisco. When Lamar Jackson is backing up off the 15-yard line, goes all the way back to his end zone, and he gets a safety because he tripped over the referee that fell down. I mean, I understand of accidents. I understand of these things taking issue, but, it's kind of like, how are you on the 15-yard line and you end up in the end zone and then you fall down you get a safety due to the referee? It just like, I think across the, when they go to the owners meeting, that needs to be addressed. If a referee interferes at any time within the end zone, that something needs to happen. They need to replay the down. They need to do something. An official can't be causing this type of scenario at the beginning of a game. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I disagree with that a little bit because the referees are part of the field.
Right. Correct. The referees are part of the field, but they shouldn't. I understand he fell down. I do understand trust me, you can see the look on his face if you go back and see it like, oh man, I just fell down. But in that situation, it's 2 points to San Francisco.
Right.
I understand if something was in the middle. This is the end zone. These are points. So I mean, it's neither here or there. It's just saying something needs to be, something should be said in the owners' meeting.
Yeah, and well, first off, Merry Christmas, guys. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Philly, congratulations for your latest and greatest acknowledgement.
You didn't shave the beard. I thought we needed a bit for the beard.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still wearing my wedding band. So therefore, as long as this is still on, this beard is on as well. If we're going to talk about officiating, and I'm just going to jump in while I know the flavor of the Kool-Aid. It was atrocious Sunday. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it would have made a big difference. We'll never know. We will never know. But the offensive call or the offsides call on Schmidt was BS. The no call for the pass interference on Robinson was BS. And the no call for the passing interference for the end of the game was also BS.
On who?
But
on who?
What are you talking on Barkley? Did you not see Barkley?
So I'll tell you the reason why they didn't call it on Barkley. He stepped out of bounds. The moment you step out of bounds, he stepped out of the back of the end zone. He didn't need to be in the play anymore. He could be pushed.
So what I saw, because he ran across the field.
But he stepped out of bounds.
He stepped out of bounds before he went across the field, or when
no, he stepped out of bounds at the back of the end zone. And once you did that, they actually had the right to push him out, because then they didn't let him reestablish, and that was actually a good defensive play, knowing the rules. Once he stepped out of bounds, that they didn't have to allow him. He could have been pushed out again.
See, I tried to hear an explanation all day about that, and I heard nothing. I heard nothing about the explanation about Schmidt, although it shouldn't have been called. But let's just. I'm kind of in a conundrum, okay, because I want to bitch about those penalties, which made the game closer, maybe a little more competitive. Which I'm glad that, and I heard what you said earlier, where you said that we play you guys harder the first game. I don't want Dallas to be successful at all this season. And True, I love you. And I know every single every single Cowboys fan, Dallas Cowboys fan, was a Giants fan for Monday night's game. And the refs were horrible. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. Now, what I will say real quick, and then I'll get off my soapbox. I'm okay with them benching DeVito at halftime, but I think he's right now. Tyrod is declared the starter for the remainder of the season, which we win them, great. We lose them, it is what it is. Of course, you play to win the game. I would like to see DeVito, just as a developmental aspect of it. He got some valuable reps. He sparked a fan base for like 3 weeks. Felt good. And I love Tyrod. I have nothing against Tyrod. I love the fact that he's getting his opportunity again. The only problem is he's not under contract next year. And we know what we get with Tyrod. But with DeVito, I want to see how he handles adversity. I want to see how he can come back from being benched and playing in a tough Rams environment. He's a young kid. He's like in his, early 20s, but it is what it is. And coach, made the decision and we got to ride with it. So
there's a piece of me that wanted to ask this question to you specifically, Sneaky. Obviously, Tyrod came in and started the second half.
Yes.
And the game plan changed in the second half, obviously.
Yes.
But do you think that had they kept him in there, that he would have had a similar result? I feel like that they changed the game plan and they made the adjustments, and the adjustments are what worked. So it makes me wonder if they kept in DeVito, that he would have had a similar result that Tyrod did.
I could look in my crystal ball and tell you yes, it would be the similar. But I think, look, Tyrod is a veteran NFL starter. He's been on Super Bowl teams. He's been a journeyman throughout his career. So when you put Tyrod in, you add a lot of options. Okay. This is his second year in the system. This is his fourth, fifth start, I think, with the team. So there's a lot of experience on the field than you have with, say, a rookie undrafted. Although being undrafted, once you get on the field, you're pretty much even with your players. If so, if that could be so, as long as you get on the team, you sign, and then you get on the field and play. I think with Tyrod, it added, like Coach said, he wanted to add a spark. I understand that. But I don't think with Tommy we would have had. I don't think we would have had the same success. I think if they would have, they would have had to.
Who let the dogs out?
My son is getting off. He just got off work, and like my dogs don't know who my son is. I think with DeVito, they could have made some like simplistic adjustments, only because of the time frame, of Tyrod being a vet and DeVito not being a vet. And, Tyrod gave him more options, and he's healthy. And that's the job of a backup. If your starter ain't doing it, which, he was struggling against New Orleans. He had a full game. Tyrod, didn't come in after he got out of concussion protocol, so Dable gave him a chance, but for me, as a developmental standpoint, I would have loved to seen, DeVito in a little, these last 2 games, because who knows, we may never see DeVito again.
Nope.
And I'm going to tell you, him another opportunity.
I'm going to tell you, looking from the outside, you can see the big drastic change in the Giants offense. When Tyrod came in, it just seemed that the offensive line just moved a lot faster, knowing that they had to move a lot faster with a mobile quarterback. And not only that, you can see the play change up. You can see the passing opportunities that Tyrod had. It was like, you know what, we don't have this kid back here. Go ahead and sling the ball. And he was slinging the ball. He was making some pretty passes, but I think you can see the drastic change in the offensive play call. And it was just like, okay, let's get this rookie out. We can't establish a run. We can't do it. We've got to open up the passing game. And as soon as they did that, you saw Barkley take off.
Yeah.
I
You know,
mean,
I'll
it
say
just
what
makes that big of a difference.
I'll say this too with at the Saints game and at this game, the difference between this game and the last 3 games that DeVito was successful in, um, his instincts weren't there. He was holding on the ball a little more. He wasn't seeing the play before it happened like he did before. And I saw the same type of, you know, 1 through 1. When you hit that third step, that ball got to go, and he was just standing up in the pocket, and then
Yep.
he would have to make that rollout. So I don't know if they were trying to add stuff, to the playbook that he wasn't comfortable with. I don't know if he was just not he didn't look comfortable. I'll just leave it at that. And I
Yeah,
could be wrong.
and
I could be
that's the
wrong.
thing. No, you're right. He didn't look comfortable, and he was getting the Eagles were on it. I'm telling you, the Eagles were on it. It was just it was again looking from the outside in. It was a bad selection of offensive play calling for the kid. They had him doing those plays. They had him doing the rollouts. It just didn't make sense what they were doing. And I don't know if that's because they didn't really want him throwing against the Eagles secondary. I don't know what it was, but you can see that he wasn't as comfortable and at getting hit after hit after hit. It takes a toll on you mentally. But again, when Tyrod went in there, you saw how the Giants sped everything up. And
Well, and again, this is Tyrod's second year in that system. So with DeVito, and I could be wrong, he could be, here's your first read, here's your second read. If that's not there, run. Or in this play, your first read, if that's not there, run. I mean, Tyrod just add that extra element, that extra progression, right? Instead of your, third read, now you have a fourth and you're checked down. It's good to see Tyrod throw the ball. My son made a comment, said he looks just like Michael Vick. I'm like, yeah, he does. He does look like
a right-handed.
Although a right-handed one, yes. I'm happy for Tyrod. I do hope that we re-sign Tyrod again next year. As a backup and have a competition between Tyrod and DeVito next year and see what we can come up with there. But
I doubt
the quarterback
I doubt any of that will happen.
Well, I mean, and I was looking, I don't know if this is his last year ever being a Giant, being in a Giants uniform. I hope not. I like what he brings to the team. I do like, when he has this, if and when he has his swag back. I mean, that's good to see. And, like I said, he brought excitement for us for about 3 weeks. So I'm happy for that. And now I got to say this, and True, you're not going to like it. And I'll get off my soapbox again. I happen to get off and like a Stairmaster. I'm not worried. I'm not hitting the panic button, but I don't want Dallas to be successful in the Super Bowl. I watching Philly play, okay, and the fact how we came back, how the penalties kind of went, your way, and how Philly got certain calls their way, and also how although on the special teams play, that fumble, he was pushed into the. I'll give that. The kickoff returner and what Baltimore did to the 49ers. Damn. They're saying that Brock Purdy's hurt. He got a stinger.
Second one.
So I don't know which Brock Purdy's going to stand up in the playoffs. And, when that type of football, when that season starts, I want to see
fun. It's going to be fun.
I want to see Philly, and I want to see Dallas not be successful. And it's,
well, look,
you don't know until they play the game. You don't know until they play the game.
Yeah, you don't know until you play the game. But the fun parts about this season is you even heard Philly and I talking about how close a season this was going to be between both of us. The difference is that, we're on a slump right now. Yeah, we have a two game loss, but again, when we get to postseason, that's when it's going to become interesting. And I think if we can get back our tackle Tyron Smith, I think that'll help out. I was embarrassed to see what our backup did this game. I mean, everything was just, this guy was just letting Dak get sacked after sack after sack, and it was just pitiful. But postseason's going to be fun, I'll tell you that.
And stop hating on the Cowboys. No, that's my job. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Yeah, especially since Joe thinks that the Cowboys are the bee's knees. Let me tell you, how about them Dolphins?
Yeah.
So, anyways, and I was very happy because, and I'm going to just mention this right now. I am in my fantasy football championship.
Yeah, you freaking beat me.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
in the
you beat
other
me in
one.
the semifinals. Yeah.
How about that? See, I am in 2 fantasy football championships. I have never won a fantasy football ever in my life. And I am in now 2 I didn't even know the other one. The other one has been going on behind my back. Nobody's even done anything over there. Like
yes, we have. Yes, we have. I have.
Well,
I can only speak for myself, but apparently not enough. Apparently not enough.
I haven't changed any one of my play. I don't even know who's on my team over there.
I don't either.
I'll tell you right now, you were projected to win by like 20. Okay. With who I had, plus there were some injuries. So I made the changes to where you were still projected to beat me by 2. So I'm like, it's going to be close. And then, of course, when I look down on my bench, there's players that I should have, could have, would have started. And I just said, F you, NFL fantasy football. But I too am, out of the 4 leagues, I'm in 2 championships myself. So
nice. I don't know. I'll just let auto pick.
Well, that's what we all did. We all auto picked.
Yeah.
I haven't. In fact, we've auto played because I don't even know if like half of my guys could be hurt on that team. I don't even know.
I haven't even looked once.
I'd be willing to bet that I had Cooper on that team though, because he had 51 points. So,
or he was on the bench on my team, knowing me.
Yeah, one or the other. But I actually am in my fantasy football Super Bowl this Sunday coming up, and I've only. I've been in this league for 23 years. I started at 23 years, 24, maybe even 25 years ago. I've been in the championship twice. This is my 3rd time. I am 0-2. I could be 0-3 at the end of this. I mean, it's very possible because the guy who was supposed to go up against me got beat in the championship on the other side there too. So I'm going up against a kid, who is, better than I am at fantasy football because he's been in the league 3 years. And
there's a league that I started back in 2008. A bunch of old high school friends, whatever, and I've only won it 3 times. I don't even know. I don't know how many times I've been in the championship game. I don't count those. I've won it 3. And the first time I won it, I took the family to dinner. I kid you not. It was back in I think it was like 2013, 2012. I'm like, we got to go.
I have never won it. I have never won it.
The best of luck.
This cup,
I wish you the best of luck.
Tripodi Cup, and the reason why we call it Tripodi Cup because Frank Tripodi was a guy who was in our league. He would win it. He was like a perennial go to the championship every year type of guy. He was just really smart when it came to that type of stuff. He passed away like 2 years ago, and we named the cup after him. And
oh wow!
I tell you,
way to honor him.
He will flip in his grave if I win this thing because I have been so bad. We have a horse's asses trophy too. The winner of the worst record and the loser of the anti Super Bowl gets the horse's asses trophy. I've won that like 14 times. So
let me ask you this, Felix. I know Chu doesn't play, when you lose, like I lost in the semifinals, of course, to you, and then I'm also looking at it right now for another league that I'm in, and it's like the third place game. I don't do nothing. I just let it. I don't focus anymore unless it's the Super Bowl. Third place? Are you kidding me right now? That's like,
so we
you
have a
know,
reverse tournament at the back end. If you didn't make it into the playoffs, we have a reverse tournament where you have to still play your players, but if you lose, you continue.
okay,
So
right.
if but you got to play your players. You can't sit everybody or do whatever. You have to play your players. And if you continue to lose,
Yep.
then you get
Mother.
the horse's ass.
Oh. Okay, so remember when we were talking about Amari Cooper? Yeah, I had him. Guess where he was at? The
On the
bench.
bench.
The bench. And apparently, I don't know if they changed the projections or whatever, but I swear you were ahead by 20. But the final projection was me 130, you 07, but the final score was 147 to 126. Kamara shitted the bed. Who else?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Anyways,
matter. Yeah.
I am in the championship in 2 leagues. Woohoo! Yippee! So hopefully I can win it. It'll be my first time winning it. I'm very excited about being in it. I am going up against I think a kid who was in it last year. He may be the defending champion actually. And for me to be in this championship is ridiculous. And I beat my brother, who is so much smarter than me in football, and I'm so very happy about that. Because we needed. It was at the halftime. Lamar Jackson needed 32 points. I think he got 27.
He was on fire.
So I got lucky.
Who's D-Town Hustlers? Is that Byron?
Maybe.
Okay, because that's who you're going to get up against in the
Oh no.
championship.
I think that's Jeffcoat.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, it is James. Yeah, it's James. Okay, well, I got to shoot him a text. Be like, hey, you're going against Philly in the Super Bowl. I won it last year, so you can't win them all. I'll let you guys go ahead and.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, so there is some football being played this week, and
Yes.
I got a new phone, so I have to get my other phone because I don't have all of the stuff put on this new phone yet, and we'll have to show.
And
hey,
just a reminder, we didn't forget about you, Washington fans. Pork Ryan's not here. We understand. You guys actually came back against the Jets, which was surprising, being down close to 20 points. So
yeah, that was
another fun game to watch.
Well, Philly, I got it right. I got it up right here. If we can still do the scores unless you got it.
I got it now. Yeah, it's like I said,
okay.
I had my other phone right next to me, so it was just a matter of getting it all together and putting it up in front of me. So on Saturday, the one Saturday game, the Detroit Lions traveled to Dallas, and the Cowboys are a 6-point favorite since they can only win games at home. And the over-under is 53.5. Now, you could say up until you guys beat the Eagles that you guys couldn't beat a team with a winning record. The Detroit Lions do have a winning record, and they are playing you at home.
And they just won their division too.
Yeah, and of course the talk has been already going across on both sides of the ball, from Detroit wanting to come in and wreck the house, and Dallas, Coach McCarthy saying this is going to be the toughest matchup of the year. I just don't know that the Lions are as intimidating as they look on TV. I'm not taking away from anything from their wins or anything like that, but just the overall success. They fought hard. They dug in when they had to. I understand that they're a great team. Don't get me wrong; they won the NFC North. That's something that they haven't done. What 30 years? As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, and you got to give them respect.
Isn't this the game where Jimmy is going to be inducted?
Yep. Jimmy's going to be inducted this game, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun game, but the Cowboys, I think, I know the Cowboys are mad right now. I know from a defensive standpoint, they're just upset. I know from an offensive standpoint, they're upset. They should have lit up the sky on that Sunday against Miami. I mean, we should have had that should have been an easy victory for us. It should have been, 34-22. But when you fail and you turn over the ball on the goal line and you can't score from the goal line, it just sets a trend, and it just didn't work out for us. But this game right here, I'm going to go ahead and take the Cowboys.
No.
And I think the Cowboys are going to get this one, and they're going to pounce. Pun intended. They're going to pounce on the Lions, and I think they're going to set the tone going into Week 17. They're going to get this one 38. I'll give them 23 points to the Lions.
I think this is going to be a battle of field goals. I'm going to take the under. If my math serves me correctly. No, it's going to be over, because I'm going to say Detroit's going to kick a winning field goal. Matter of fact, it is the over, because 24-24 is 48. No, it's under, just
52.
by a smidge. Just by a smidge. It with that 3-pointer at the end of the game, in back-to-back weeks, 27-24. Detroit.
I believe Dallas plays better at home than they do on the road. And I believe Detroit plays better at home than they do on the road. And I think that's going to be the end all be all when it really comes down to it. Just to give you an idea on things that I notice, obviously the Cowboys are undefeated at home, and the away record right now for the Lions is 6-2, but those two losses were against teams with winning records. So I firmly believe that that the Cowboys are probably going to wind up taking this game. I think it's going to be like they're going to score over 30 points. It's going to be like a 33. I'm going to say, like, Detroit's not going to score as many points because they're going to be driving, and instead of kicking field goals, they're going to try to go for those touchdowns in the second half and not score them. So this game is going to seem like so lopsided by the score that I say, but it's not going to be an actual on actual paper when it comes to yardage and stuff. I think it's going to be 33-17. And I feel like it's going to be very similar to the Eagles game against the Cowboys, where we were able to drive against you guys, but weren't able to score points because we kept putting the ball on the carpet. Now, I don't know that it's going to be turnovers by Goff that are going to create this situation, but I do believe that they're not going to score, and they're going to like turn the ball over on downs and such like that, that they're not going to get those first downs instead on fourth down. So my think is going to be 33-17, which would be a little bit of an under.
Yeah,
So,
and going into that, Goff, looking at him play the past couple of weeks, I think he will have those INTs. He gets under duress, and he has that quick release to the side, and that's where Bland will come in and get his pick. I'm not saying he's going to make a TD off it, but Goff will have 2 interceptions this game.
okay. So, like we said last week, where it was a weirdo week because we were all away, or no, 2 weeks ago we were all away. This week we are all at home. And the next game that we're going to talk about is on New Year's Eve at 1 o'clock. The San Francisco 49ers are traveling all the way to DC and playing the Washington Commanders. And the over-under on that one is 49.5, and the 49ers are a 13-point favorite.
I'll
Pork
go
Rind,
Pork
what do you
on
got to
this.
say?
Let's wait for Pork Rind.
Nothing? Okay.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say let's sit here and wait for Pork Rind. No. Who's their quarterback for the Commanders? Oh, Brisket? Is it Brisket? Tony?
Isn't Hal going to be back?
No, I don't think
Brissett.
so.
Brissett.
Brissett. I said Brisket. No, I'm not hungry, by the way. I think
Liar.
Brissett. No, actually, I just had dinner. Brissett is. I think it's going to make it a little more competitive, but this is going to be a bounce back game for the Niners. I don't see it being a blowout or like a convincing win. So I'm going to say I'm actually going to say like a 20-10 type score. I'm definitely taking the under. Yeah, 40. Yeah, I'm going way under. Maybe a 24-10 type score. But I think Brissett's going to keep them in the game for much, and like the score is not going to dictate the actual game itself. But I see 40-0. That's a possibility.
I think Brissett is going to jump in there and he's going to start slinging that ball around and it's going to surprise a lot of people. Now I'm not saying
they have
they're going to win.
Nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose.
And he's been riding the pine. So what does he have to lose? Nothing. Might as well throw the ball. Might as well try and get as many points as possible. San Francisco is playing good defense. They have all year, but it doesn't mean that a QB can't get in there and start slinging it around. I mean, look what Lamar Jackson just did to them. I mean, come on. But it's going to be a fun game to watch. That's all I'm going to say. But Washington is going to have their struggles offensively. The Niners, like I said, have been playing great defense all year, even against the Ravens, even though, they got beat. They've been playing great ball. But Brock Purdy's the question. I mean, right now he's questionable. Am I wrong? That's the telltale sign right there. If Brock Purdy's out, if Brock Purdy's out, it's going to be a tighter game than everyone thinks. We'll see how good of a system he has if he doesn't start this game. But I still have Washington.
Yeah, they got him. They have a questionable right now.
Yeah, and that stinger ain't nothing to come back from either. Especially that's the second one. But the Niners, I think, are barely going to skip by on this one by a couple of points, maybe 4 or 5 points, and I see it around 28-21, 28-23, somewhere around that area.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be able to upset them. I just don't think Washington's got it in them. But I do believe that this is going to be the swan song for Rivera. Like, this is the one more for the Gipper type of thing. And I also believe that, the one weakness that the 49ers have is in the middle of their line. And that's the one strength that the Washington Commanders have. So I think that that's where they're going to pressure. That's where they're going to have some success. And I believe that the 49ers are going to win this game. And I think it's going to be like the problem I see is that Washington just can't score points. So if Brissett all of a sudden is having his – is if he's going to be the one that's like, hey, this is my tryout for every team next year. I got to do what I got to do to make it happen. That he may have the day of his life, and then I wish I had what's his face on my fantasy team so that I would win this, because that means everything is going to be going to McLaurin. I have a game 28. Yeah, 29. I keep thinking 29 for some reason for the 49ers to 17.
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm in that ballpark. Maybe 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals for Washington. I mean, they did come back against the Jets, so he did turn it on. So if he gets a start this week, we'll see where it goes.
And the other thing I have is that the 49ers coming back and playing at 1 o'clock. A West Coast team coming and playing what would be their 10 o'clock time changes things for them. So
Mhm.
and let's face it, DC has got a lot of ladies of the night, and I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers overindulge a little bit and poop the bed. Wouldn't be a surprise. Another team coming all the way across the country to play a 1 o'clock game. The Los Angeles Rams playing at MetLife Stadium
Oof.
on New Year's Eve against the New York Football Giants. The over-under is
I'll go less
44,
on this.
44.5 over under.
and it's a 5.5-point spread. Rams have won 5 of their last 6.
Rams are playing good ball right now.
And Tommy Cutlets is no longer the quarterback.
Nope. Tyrod starting. So I'll go last on this one, guys. Go ahead. You guys can duke it out.
I think Matt Stafford's going to jump in there from the get. What's the weather? Anybody have any clue on the weather up there?
Oh, it's gonna be raining.
Ugh. I don't know.
I just saw it on the news. I don't know exactly.
I don't know. The Rams have been playing good ball, like Philly said, five out of the 6 games. And last week, Stafford was throwing the ball. They were moving the ball pretty good, but again, I just don't see the Giants prevailing in this one, especially with their quarterback situation going on. I just don't see it. I think they're going to try and do everything possibly can, but the Rams are just going to punch it out towards the end, and it's going to be a close one. I don't think it's going to be anything overwhelming. I think the Giants, it's time to face the Piper on what they've got as far as the offensive weapons is, and that goes for the quarterback. But I've got the Rams taking this one 24-13.
24-13. I think the Giants are done. I think the Rams are going to come out pretty strong. I have them thinking they're going to score about 30 points, and it's going to be like a 30-13, a 30-10 game. That at halftime, the Giants are going to be struggling to figure out which golf course they're going to be playing on in 2 weeks. I think that's kind of what I see here. I'd love to say it's different, but the Rams are still in a playoff hunt. I think right now they have the number 2 wild card, so it wouldn't surprise me. Interestingly enough, though, if the Giants were to win, everybody in Chicago would rejoice because Chicago Bears still actually have an opportunity to get into the playoffs, and they need the Rams to lose both games. That the Rams are the deciding factor on that. So you have every Bears fan in the world on the Giants side.
Yep.
So I think that I believe that the Giants are going to rally behind Tyrod, and they're going to play good football. Dick Vermeil, shout out. I do think that the Rams are playing good football. That receiver that they have, that Nakamuka Taka, he's on my fantasy team. He was a sleeper, and he's been doing wonders for me. So I hope he does well. I'm gonna say a long shot. I think that the defense is gonna step up. We're gonna double Cup, and Wink is gonna put the blitz on. Okay, I'm not believing any of what I'm saying. I'm just
we can tell.
Yeah, I'm talking out my ass right now, but I'm still going with my guys. And I'm gonna say 17-14 Giants.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna stick with.
Very good. And the last game that we're going to talk about, how about this? 3 West Coast teams, like NFC West is coming to the NFC East minus the Lions, all playing 1 o'clock games. All 3-hour difference, playing 1 o'clock games. Cardinals against the Eagles. Over under is 48.5, and the Eagles are favored by 10.5.
I'll go first. Look, I'm just gonna say it. Eagles are gonna win. If you guys lose to Arizona, Philly don't have any high expectations in the playoffs. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just upfront and honest.
Yeah,
But I'm picking Philly to win. I'm gonna say I'll say like 28-14, some kind of weird flavor. You know, you guys will be in the 20s, they'll be in the teens. 29-14, 29-10, something like that. So
yeah,
I
you could
think
tell Joe's. You could tell Joe's a straight hater. He has no idea about football at all. Yeah, whatever, Joe. Keep sucking on that lollipop there, Joe.
is he a Giants fan?
No, he's a Cowboys fan.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah,
yeah.
Cowboys lost to
So
Arizona, so they already know.
what's the weather going to be like there in Philly?
I have no idea.
Oh, it should be crappy. That whole
Yeah,
system
I mean,
is going
you know,
northeast.
that's going up there in December, late December, almost January. So weather prevailing. Arizona, I don't know, man. Arizona's going to try and give it what it's got, but I don't think it has much. I really don't. Eagles are who they are, and they've been winning these close games. They've been coming out, and I think they're going to do the same thing with this one. It's not going to be as close though. I think Philly's going to get it at least by 8. I think it's going to be around a score, like maybe 31-21, somewhere around there. It's going to be, the Eagles are going to set the tone early, but Arizona should, play with some interest. But I just don't think Arizona has what it takes.
And
that's a team that beat us over there.
Yeah, in week 3.
Yeah.
So I think that the Eagles are going to probably play their best game. Beyond everything else, this defense has got some very strong feelings to the coach over there. They feel that the coach quit on the Super Bowl and didn't call the game the way it should have been called in the second half because he wasn't leaving Arizona. So much so that they gave us picks because of it in the draft. If you remember, like all of a sudden that came out, and it was a sneaky thing that came out, but it came out.
Yep.
So
Tampering.
I'm saying this is going to be an epic smackdown. I think it's going to be like 48 to like 6, and that 6 is going to be a blocked extra point. Like they may get to 2 points. I haven't seen it yet in the NFL. The 2-point conversion going back the other way. I have not seen that yet. I don't know if it's happened, but I think that's what's going to.
I don't
it
know
has?
when, but
It has happened, but not this season.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't know that it's happened yet since they reinstituted it, but I think it's going to be like a 48 to 6 points. Joe, we already know you're high. You're sucking on them wrong lollipops. Whatever you're doing, Joe. We know you're a Cowboys Turd fan. That's okay. We don't bust your balls about that. Don't bust mine when I make my picks.
Philly, I'll tell you what. If the Eagles score 48 points or 48 plus, I got you a beer. I'm not gonna wear a hat, but I got you a beer.
Well, you got to give me your address too because I got you a pin.
Did you check a text message? I got you.
Okay, you didn't send it to me yet, so that's why.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I got you a pin because it was a really nice pin. It was a really nice pin for Merry Christmas and the game and stuff like that. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
So because I know you weren't going to make it. I was hoping you were going to make it up for the last game, but
yeah, me too.
Sneak away.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching. Sneak away.
Yeah.
You do not see me.
No, it's like this. You don't see me.
All right, guys. So we are at the top of the hour. Yeah, we another great show here. We talked all about this football, and next week it could mean everything or it could mean absolutely nothing.
That's
So
right.
we will find
Yeah,
out.
so-
We will find out exactly what everything's going to be once we get back here next week. But until then, thank you for joining us. And as always,
How
Let's
about
go
them
Giants.
Cowboys?
go Birds.
Hail to the
Yeah.
Commanders. Is that what he says? Or what?
Happy New Year, everybody. Have a good
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year,
Happy New
guys.
Year.